Hey everybody, I'm here today to talk to you about 7 driving tips for new drivers. In this video, I'll be going over 7 simple pieces of advice that will help new drivers become better drivers as they gain driving experience. Without further ado, let's get right into the video. Driving tip for new drivers number 1, look further ahead. When people are learning to drive, when they're new drivers, they have a tendency to look directly in front of the hood of their car. In reality, though, they should be looking further ahead. Now, let me explain why. When you look further ahead, you're going to see what's happening on the road further ahead. Therefore, you're going to see it earlier. Therefore, you're going to have more time to react to whatever it is that you see. And your peripheral vision will still allow you to see directly in front of your car. So you're pretty much getting the best of both worlds when you look further ahead. You're able to see things in advance so you can react to them and get more time to react to them. And you're still able to see in front of the hood of your car with your peripheral vision. Driving tip for new drivers number 2, learn how to use your mirrors effectively when reversing. Now, don't get me wrong, it's important to use both your mirrors and your vision with looking around the car when you're reversing. But your mirrors serve a crucial role when you're reversing because they allow you to see behind your car and down the sides of your car. And that's important for reversing in a straight line, for reversing around the corner, and reversing into a parking spot, reverse parking. So it's important to know how to effectively use your mirrors when reversing. Learn where to look in your mirrors and learn what to look for. Driving tip for new drivers number 3, use the emergency brake when parking. Most people learn how to drive while using the emergency brake while parking, but then as they gain driving experience, they sort of stop using it while they're parking, especially if they're driving an automatic car. It's important to use your emergency brake every time that you park, whether you drive a manual car or an automatic car. So as a new driver, get into the habit of using the emergency brake while you park, and then continue that habit as you gain more years of driving experience. Driving tip for new drivers number 4, don't fall into the bad habits that many drivers fall into. So some of the common bad habits that many drivers fall into as they gain driving experience are rolling stops, so rolling stop signs and not using their signal while they are moving directions of the car, and not checking their blind spot when they're switching lanes and turning. Don't fall into these bad habits. Most people fall into these bad habits because they don't do it once, then they don't do it twice, then they don't do it 5 times, and then they don't do it 25 times, and then 50 times, and then all of a sudden it's now a bad habit. Don't fall into these bad habits. Avoid falling into them. Driving tip for new drivers number 5, drive defensively. If you drive defensively, you are going to be much less likely to actually get into an accident or even get into a near accident. So with that being said, something so simple as using a few defensive driving techniques will greatly help you with regards to being safe while you drive. And that's good for you, but it's also good for all of the other drivers and pedestrians and cyclists and objects around you as you drive. So learn how to drive defensively and use the techniques on a regular, frequent basis. Be a defensive driver. Driving tip for new drivers number 6, keep a safe following distance. And if you're ever in doubt, keep a little bit of an extra following distance. So figure out whatever is safe and then add a little bit more if you ever feel like you might be following too closely. Now let me explain to you very, very quickly the massive benefit in keeping a safe following distance. It gives you more time to react. Just like I said with tip number 1, looking further ahead gives you more time to react. Keeping that safe following distance, or even a greater than safe following distance, will also give you more time to react. Let's say the car in front of you slams on their brakes. If you're following too closely, you have a good chance that you're going to rear end them or almost rear end them, okay? But let's say you're keeping a safe following distance, you have time to not only react, but you might not even have to slam on your brakes, which might save you from getting rear-ended if the person behind you is following too closely. So keeping a safe following distance, or even a little bit more than a safe following distance, is a hugely beneficial thing to do, because it's going to give you more time to react, and it's going to allow your reactions to be even safer than they would be if you were following too closely. Last but not least, driving tip for new drivers, number 7, adapt to road conditions. Now, there are many things that you should change about your driving as the road conditions change. Meaning, if the road conditions are dry, like they are right now where I'm driving, then I'm going to drive a certain speed. Let's say I'm going to drive the speed limit. I'm going to take turns at a certain speed, and I'm going to steer in a certain way. But the moment that the road conditions are not ideal is the moment that you have to actually adapt to the road conditions. Meaning, if it all of a sudden starts to snow, if it's windy, if it's rainy, if it's icy, you have to do things to adapt to the road conditions. So with that being said, what I'm telling you to do is slow down, make sure your steering is smoother, and make sure that your turns and all of the maneuvers are done in a slower manner and a smoother manner. Because if you can imagine, if it's dry outside and the road conditions are ideal, I can turn the steering wheel rather quickly and the tires are going to grip the road. But what happens is, if it's not ideal, if it's rainy or snowy or icy, if I turn the steering wheel aggressively, I'm probably going to slide and lose traction, and that's what you want to avoid. But that's basically it. In this video, I have gone over 7 driving tips for new drivers. If you liked the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think down below as a comment. What are some other driving tips for new drivers? Let me know down below as a comment. And of course, be sure to subscribe for more great car and driving videos just like this one. And that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching.